about to step into a new era. Down the dust at 18 years old. It's telling me come out of yourself from the bones, but it's hard to get by when you work 9 to 5 and never see the scope. It's just a night in a row. It's time to get home. What the fuck are you already sick to the bone? But it's hard to get by when you work for the weekend until the girls down. The bell tolls twice and you don't want to go home.
Hello and welcome to This is Ibrox, and we're very happy to be rolling out a brand new feature tonight on our podcast and all of the relevant podcast channels that you can see all our usual stuff on. This evening we are starting with One Night at Ibrox, which is a brand new feature, as we say, and we are really pleased tonight to welcome someone on who, to this day, we still speak about seeing one of the best midfield performances at Ibrox in recent times, and we're really pleased to be joined by Gaizka Mendieta. Hi Gaizka, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. Very good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for sparing us an hour or so to speak about a wonderful night for Valencia and for first instance at Ibrox, but your performance that night was quite mind-blowing. It was an excellent night for you.
Well, you said it was still one of the nights that probably people in Scotland and mainly Rangers still talk about it, but I think it's still one of those nights that even for Valencia was very special in the way it was our first, for most of us in the team, the first participation in the Champions League tournament. And it was an incredible atmosphere. I think when we've talked about previous games in the time I was there with some teammates, we still remember that night, one of the amazing nights. Of course, we weren't in that help. I'm not sure we would have talked about it if it would have been disqualified. But the atmosphere, we'll probably talk about it a bit later. But it was an incredible night. So, like I said, for football players, or at least for me, that's what the sort of nights, the sort of games you want to be involved, when you want to play in historical in stadiums with, of course, supporters and fans creating an incredible atmosphere, and that's what we found there. The team, the stadium, the fans. It was unforgettable.
So we'll come to that a little bit later on. I want to cover some career stuff that you've done. You've had a really glittering career and played in 3 wonderful countries. Talk to us a little bit about how it started off with you. You obviously started at Castellón in Segunda and then got that big money move to Valencia.
Well, not that big money compared to the things nowadays. I was 17, 18. I guess for a player that age was quite good money, but it was, I think, quite reasonable. Of course, eventually became one of the cheapest signings Valencia probably did at the time. But yeah, it was a Castellón. I used to play holding midfielder in the center, which I used to play, and I used to enjoy. I was very good physically, so I could cover a lot of pitch. And I used to play quite simple, so but quite defensively. And I arrived to Valencia, and of course, the players that were there, the level was something else. I was lucky to be involved quite a lot in that first season. I didn't play as much as I wanted, probably, but of course, like I say, I look back now, and the players that were there was incredible. I was lucky to participate as I did, and that was one of the reasons I went there. My dad was my agent at the time, and the reason chosen Valencia was it was close where my parents lived at the time in Benicàssim near Valencia, and also because it was a learning idea, where with these international coaches, great coaches, international and national players at the level that I would be surrounded by, I would improve, of course, technically. Like I said, I could run, not a problem. I could run forever, but I needed to improve a lot on my technical skills, and that's what I did, and what we chose that, and it was, of course, not only because what happened later,
Yeah.
but my progression in those terms was incredible. So I was there of course, Castellón. For those that don't know, it's a small city, small town compared to Valencia, which was a big city. So it was a big change for me
Yeah.
going for a small city, big city, small club, big club. But it was exciting.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Ranieri that signed you for Valencia, Gaizka?
It was the manager was Hiddink,
Right.
Coach
Okay.
Hiddink, which and then the president was Arturo Tuzon, which stayed for a couple of years, I think, and then they changed it. But yeah, it was Hiddink was the manager, which I think it was really good for us, the young players, because Holland Academy, we did extra training before the training sessions with the team to actually improve technically a group of about 10 players from the B team and from the first team that we were still young, and that was incredibly helpful for me in the way I improved for because he didn't stay in the beginning, left, and then came back.
Right.
But
Okay.
of course, that first time, that first 2 years with Hiddink were very good.
So in 1999, you won the Copa del Rey, and of course on your route to the final, you came up against all the people you probably wanted to avoid: Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid. But of course, you swept them aside on your way to the final and eventually won it.
Yes, I mean, if you want to win things, you have to play against the big ones eventually, and I think that's one of the signs or the trademarks of the team that we were. We weren't scared of anyone. We would play to our best to anyone. We had really big confidence in what we did, how we did it. We knew we had individual talent as well as a team, especially. We were very strong, and that's why we could play against any team and go there and try to do our best. And we actually, like you say, we not only in the cup but during the league. Those days, Barca, Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Athletic Bilbao, any big team, Deportivo at the time, it was a big team. We weren't afraid or scared to play against any. We just knew we were our best. We stood a chance for winning, and yeah, 99 was special because, like you said, we reached the final. We won it. We played one before. I think it was the year before too. We lost it against Deportivo, but in 99, yes, it was our chance.
So I want to speak to you about a goal that you scored at the Nou Camp, and you know exactly what I'm going to ask you, I'm sure. Everyone sees really, really sweet struck volleys, whether it's throughout the world or just on the Sky TV. The volley you scored at the Nou Camp was one of the best I think any of us have ever seen. Talk us through that. Certainly spoiled the party.
Well, yeah. I mean, to begin with, we never ever trained that. We never actually even talk about it. The training session or watching a game or anything. We never actually speak about it, which is maybe that's what it worked because we never plan it. We never plan it. So I remember, being I used to be normally outside the box, and I look around me and I didn't see anyone marking me or anyone near close. So I didn't want to raise the attention of any of the Barca players, but I wanted to make eye contact with Adrian Ili, which was the one taking the corner. So I think eventually we made eye contact, but I wasn't sure if it was. So I had to be ready, but maybe he didn't see me.
Yeah.
So as he kicked the ball, I see the ball coming to me. So of course, I was like, oh, he's on.
I better hit this.
yeah, that's it. It's coming this way. All it was going through my head at the time, it was, don't put it in the tire. Just just make sure it goes targeted, because those sort of kicks, like you say, it could go over the Camp Nou next city, could go corner flag, or
Yeah.
So all it was to make sure that I hit the ball. So my technique, my body incline, my steady foot, a bit of on a bent knee. So making sure that I hit the ball at the right attitude, so it didn't go up. And it was one of those that when I hit it, so I wasn't thinking because I was just so focused on hitting the ball. But in my head, it was like I knew I hit it. I didn't know if it was going to be the goal that it was eventually, but I knew I hit it at the right place, and it was going on goal. It was going on target. And then, of course, I see it going like road of corner and searching and the hit like the post like trying like I need to jump out. This is coming quite strong. I'm not sure I should put my head on. And then, of course, yeah, the goal. But that was sort of the process that I was thinking as the ball was coming. And when I saw it going in, it was like just actually that few seconds, I don't remember anything. I think it was just like.
I should say for anyone that is watching this now, as you and I discuss it, I would urge you to jump on to any of your social media and just look for the goal. It is a wonderful, wonderful effort. I think I watched it again tonight, just shortly before we spoke, and the thing that amazed me for a player that playing at the Nou Camp to score a goal like that and just be absolutely silenced by the lack of noise around you. The only thing you probably could have heard was your teammates congratulate you on such a wonderful strike. But obviously, scoring a goal like that at the Nou Camp must have been absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it was like you say, this scenario. I mean, you could score a goal like that at training or, I don't know, on another pitch. Of course, not dismissing anyone. But scoring a goal like that at the Camp Nou, and then, of course, going through, it meant a lot. And, of course, the scenario itself is already rewarding enough to even score that goal. And I think that's also because it's helped to become the goal that is still nowadays. Some people talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So still with Valencia, and we need to bring it up, 2 Champions League defeats back to back. So sadly, a winner's medal missing from your locker there.
Well, of course, it's tough. It was tough. Still is tough thinking about them that have played a team like Valencia at the time that never really played that competition, and all of a sudden we played 2 finals in a row. When I think now, I think it was a remarkable achievement what we did, reaching those 2 finals. I say with a small mouth because, of course, I hate losing, of course, and I hate losing finals especially. But I think for a club like us, it was an incredible achievement, and we have to, as a club, as fans, as the players that we were involved at the time, we have to see that as a great moment for the club, because I think it was. It raised the level of the club and the players to a different level by playing 2 finals. Especially the second one in the way we played. In the first one, I watched that game years after, and you could not argue, like, we should have won it. Madrid was better than us. They were in a urgency to win it because they would have been out of Europe, so it would have been a disaster. And they showed that at that game they were better than us.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. But it's the other one that we play very well. Watched the game again years after. We play so well. We scored first. They missed the penalty, and the penalty. We always felt in control for that game. That I think when you play that well, when you feel in control, when you feel you are so close. Of course, you're not thinking of we want to win it, but you as you continue to play and you're playing, you're thinking things are going well. And then not winning it, that's I think beyond the fact that it was on penalties, the fact that we played so well, it's probably what it hurt a lot as well.
Of course. So your reputation as one of Europe's leading midfielders continues to grow and grow and grow. And in 2001, there is interest from Italy, and you moved to Lazio. Was that something that moving to Italy was something you'd always considered as part of your career? I get the impression you were quite happy at Valencia for the period of time you were there.
Yeah, well, the club had offers for me to leave before that. I never wanted to leave. I was happy. I was captain. Like I said, I got there 17-year-old, 18-year-old as a player, and it took me many years to achieve what I wanted to achieve with Valencia, with trophies, finals, etc. Uh, but as well, at the same time, in my mind, as a player, as a person, I wanted to experience football to its maximum. So that meant, of course, taking up on challenges like going other countries,
Absolutely.
like Italy at the time was uh, the strongest, one of the strongest leagues in the world. That's what I went eventually later to England. That's what I would have liked to continue to play and experience football in many other countries. So Italy, yeah, I had it in my head. And after 10 years, 9 seasons, 10 years at the club, I thought it was my time to move on with my career. It was probably one of the toughest decisions I had to make to decide to leave Valencia. Of course, it was a mutual consent with the club. It was the right time for the club to, of course, get big money for my transfer as well as for me to continue my career and taking up on new challenges. And so I knew it was going to be difficult because I knew other players that had been there. Italian football was complicated for our style of football, but I was mentally and physically prepared to go there and do it, and that's the main reason I went.
So obviously, as a huge Rangers fan, you're very aware of the rivalry in Glasgow and how fierce it is more often than not. Uh, you must have experienced that when you went to Rome with the sort of Roma guys and the Lazio guys.
Yeah, because as you know, Valencia is different sort of with Levante and Valencia, so that rivalry wasn't as heated as, of course, Rangers, Celtic,
Yeah.
and nevertheless Lazio won, which was unfortunate. We lost the one playing as away team. We lost badly against them, and there was some disastrous incidents in the training ground. Uh, Apart from that, it was incredible. I mean, the passion, the fans behind us, the banners on the stands. It was one of the best atmospheres I've been involved in terms of before the game finished. But but it was unbelievable, like you say, because it's such a heated, such a huge rivalry between Roma and Lazio.
So do you look back on your time in Italy with maybe a little bit of disappointment that you weren't there for longer than what you were actually there?
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, my idea was to be there for as long as my first original contract was. For the same reason, I've been continuing in my career. I wanted to go there and win trophies, individual, do well, collectively be successful. That's what I always wanted to do, and it didn't happen. So of course, I wasn't happy with that. I take part of the responsibility, but I think there was more factors that beyond myself that didn't help in the whole thing situations not to work out in the way everyone wanted. I didn't think I played enough to take the opportunity to settle into the team, which it was almost like I think it was six, seven, 8 new players that year, that season. So a lot of things that needed to give time to settle, not only myself, and it didn't. As we know, football doesn't have much patience. But yeah, it wasn't the ideal season as I would have liked.
So you're at Lazio and things by your own admission maybe aren't going to plan. And a wonderful opportunity comes up for you to move back to Spain for a loan period with Barcelona. Tell us a little bit about that and how that move came about.
Yes, of course. After that season, I wasn't happy how things went, not only personal level, club, team, etc. So I didn't really want to risk another season being similar because that one already did a lot of damage. So I was looking for opportunities. I wasn't definitely wanted to leave, but I was exploring other options that would have bring me back to play regularly and of course to win trophies, etc. And Barca came across. Van Gaal really wanted me to go there and play in the club. Of course, the club was happy for me to go, but especially that Van Gaal wanted me was key. The fact that the manager wants you to go there, you have the confidence, the trust to be there, and of course, give you the time if it was required. And I went there, and I really enjoyed it, although it was quite an unstable year. We had three managers, three presidents. I think, again, looking back now, it was a year of transition in the club. Then arrived Laporta with the manager. He's going to my head now. Anyway, the Dutch manager,
Rijkaard.
and new players arrived. Rijkaard, yeah, exactly, yeah. Rijkaard arrived there, and so yeah, that season wasn't again in terms of club of the team, we expected it. But individually, I was very happy after that season in Italy. It went really well, played in different positions, but I think overall it was a good season for me. But like I said, it was a transition year in the club, so I was on loan, and the club said we are restructuring the team, the club, and the guys like me that we were on loan were the first to leave with no option to stay, obviously.
So I'm fascinated to know what the general expectation is of a Barcelona football player. I mean, I'm talking about a brand that's known all around the world. Did you feel a different sort of pressure on your shoulders from playing even with Lazio in Italy to playing with Barcelona in Spain?
No, because for me going back to Barca, it was easy. I mean, I knew that was my style of football. I knew I would settle straight away. In the beginning, I played in a different position because Van Gaal liked to play with full long wingers, three at the back and the two left and right, up and down.
Yeah.
Which of course wasn't the best position for myself because it required a lot of running and but not participating a lot or as much as I would have liked to. But still, I in that terms, I knew I would settle straight away because there was guys that played in the national team together. So the fact of the philosophy and the pressure from the fans, that wasn't the least of my concerns when I went to Valencia. It was more about giving my level and giving what people wanted from me and the club wanted from me than actually worrying about that. That wasn't good for me.
So after your loan period at Barcelona comes to an end, the opportunity comes for you to move to English football, and you got a move to Middlesbrough with I think Brian Robson was in charge. Was he in charge initially when you arrived?
McLaren,
of course, yeah.
Yeah. No, well, I went back to Italy because I was I still belong to Lazio, but again, I didn't want to stay there and risk it. The new manager Mancini said, he would be happy for me to stay. I knew with him probably I would have opportunities and the style of football that he liked. It would have suited me, but when McLaren came with some members of the club to Rome to speak to me, to be honest, I didn't think much about it in the beginning. But as the preseason continued, I thought, well, maybe it's a chance to give a 360 turn into my career, and rather than go to these big clubs and win trophies and etc., why not go to another club that is trying to achieve big things and help to, of course, win trophies, but make history, etc. And eventually, it became bigger and bigger. The idea in my head about going to Middlesbrough, and that's what happened. I had offers to go to the clubs. I didn't want to go back to Spain. I thought my era in Spain was done after being Valencia and Barcelona. Where else could have gone? I would have gone to Athletic Bilbao. Was the only thing I would have done.
Yeah.
But there was no real opportunities to go there. So again, going to England was another thing that I was chasing, another challenge that I was chasing as a football player, and and I thought, well, let's let's give it a chance. Why not? The project looked very exciting with Juninho, Zenden, Boateng, Southgate, Max Schwarzer, goalkeeper. So we had plenty of talents. Doriva. We really had a very good team, and I think I really enjoyed due to the players we had and the football of the style that we played. We won the cup the first year, which was great for me. For a lot of people, I thought, why Mendieta is going Middlesbrough after being, so it was great winning that, qualifying for Europe the next 2 seasons, playing another final the third year
Yeah.
against Sevilla. So that the 3.5, 4 years were really good for me and for the club.
So it's funny you mention Bilbao. My wife and I have a friend that stays in Bilbao, and when I mentioned I was speaking to you tonight, he said, "Ask him why he never ever signed for Bilbao." But it sounds like the opportunity just never came up for one reason or another.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I've said it many times. I would have loved to play for them at some point in my career, but I don't think the path never crossed at the right time for either me or themselves. But it's something that I would have loved to, not only because I'm from Bilbao, but also because the philosophy, the club, just playing with past players, would have been great to represent that. But unfortunately, never occurred.
And of course, you represented the Basque national team as well on half a dozen or so occasions, didn't you? Six time, was it?
Yeah, six, 7 times. Yeah, we played several years. Yeah.
And you've got full honours from under 18 straight through to full international for Spain. So a super decorated career. So we're really pleased that you've joined us on the chat tonight. Thanks very much. So we'll go back to what we're here to discuss, which ultimately is one night Ibrox, and it's that night in October 1999 when Valencia travelled to Glasgow to play Rangers. So it's Rangers have been drawn in the group stages with Bayern Munich, Valencia, and PSV Eindhoven. First game of the campaign, Rangers travel to the Mestalla and are beaten 1-0 across there. And we've got a game against Bayern Munich at Ibrox the following, match day 2, if you like, which we draw. Come out really well in a double header with PSV Eindhoven. The game at Ibrox, which won 4-1, was fantastic stuff. And then we welcome you guys to Ibrox, and I honestly say when we speak about memorable performances at Ibrox, when anyone speaks about the Valencia game at Ibrox, they instantaneously sort of pick on your performance that night. Of course, you were lucky enough to score. I say lucky; it was a decent effort. What can you remember about the sort of run up to the game? We speak really proudly about our football stadium with the red brick facade, etc. Can you remember much about that night and just travelling to Ibrox before the game started?
Yeah, I remember, like I said, it was our first time for myself and many players, Champions League. And I remember especially that first time, like enjoying and loving every single game. The thing is that I remember particularly about that game. It's of course arriving to the stadium, like you say, a historical stadium where I was so exciting to play and to be there because what we represent in terms of football, global football. I was like, sometimes when you go to some places, you have to find your way to motivate yourself for different reasons. But I think that night we were motivated just the fact that we were playing there. And I remember that, the facade, the tunnel, getting to the dressing room. And then what I remember, of course, the tempo was so high, it was so intense again from the beginning, which of course you guys tried to benefit from it. And the next thing I remember so clearly, like if it was last week, I remember halftime. We go back to the dressing room. Like, come on, guys, like we've survived the first 45 minutes. Uh, we need to continue. We need to try to have more of the ball, control a bit more the game because they're really pushing and it's difficult, etc. So I remember we start to come out of the dressing room and we wait in the tunnel.
Yeah.
And we start to hear this noise, and we were like looking to each other, like saying, "We we're winning, right? I mean, we qualify, right? Because sounds like these guys are winning 5-0. And like, so we it's tried us like how the fans were so noisy from behind the team. And it was incredible, and of course coming out and even being louder. And then when Rangers came out, even louder than it was. It was incredible atmosphere to be on the pitch. And then I remember a couple of free kicks. I mean, the noise was outstanding. Like I said, we still talk about it like one of the nights on the games. But I remember that being in the channel, like literally, like we qualify, no? Like what's going on there?
A couple of things I remember about the night. I remember obviously Lopez's goal to go 2-0 up just before half time. But I also remember the boy Angulo that played for Valencia on the night, who I thought was excellent, and generally I felt was someone who was quite underrated as a footballer. I thought he was brilliant that night as well.
I think he's so underrated because not only for us, then played Villarreal. He's from Gijón, but he was an amazing player. He played right back, left back, right and left midfielder, but he was a striker.
Yeah.
As a striker, he didn't stop running. He had goal because as a striker, he could score goals. And it was incredible. And yeah, that you mentioned it, I remember that. He was really good for us on my night. And, yeah.
So as I said earlier on, we had a really good tournament. Do you think when the draw was made, were Rangers sort of looked at perhaps as the whipping boys of the group a little bit? So almost we're travelling to Scotland, so we should be okay there?
No, actually, when we look at the group, I think we were we felt the weakest ones. We felt the ones that would actually go out because Bayern Munich PSV, the PSV that was at the time is of course not the PSV now.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich. I mean, the group was really tough.
Yeah.
And I think that was good for us because we felt, of course, we needed to be our best in every game because we were playing about biggest clubs in Europe, in the world.
Yeah.
And we had to play. And I think it gave us a lot of confidence the first game at Mestalla because we played very well against you. And I think that gave us a lot of self-esteem and belief that you guys, you got history and you are who you are, but we still have a saying if we are, like I said earlier, if we did the things right as we had to, we could be anyone. But of course we have to do it. And no, we not at all. We felt looking at that probably PSV and us, but we never consider Rangers as one of the weakest on the group.
So I'll ask you about the goal that you scored. The chap that you had playing at left back, whose name escapes me, throws in a ball to the, sort of round about the left back area, and you swing your left foot out, and just by chance it sails by our goalkeeper into the net. It was a wonderful goal, and as I say, that night it really sort of was the cherry on top of a really good cake for Gaizka Mendieta. You were excellent that night.
Yeah, and I think also for the team, I think that goal was like because for the whole game we were like really struggling and suffering. The tempo, the intensity, the atmosphere being incredible, and we didn't manage to control the game as we would have liked to. So that goal was like, now we starting to believe that we might make it. Yes, and I remember, I think it was Piojo made a cross, Lopez, and come inside. And actually, when I when I went to kick it, I was gonna go like full volley, like really strong, but because the defender was so tight and so close to me, when I'm kicking it, he kind of put his leg to, of course, trying to stop it. So I couldn't kick it all the way, like as you would do with the movement. So I had to be like a bit less power and a bit more trying to go in direction rather than power. And that's why I thought just try to put it across. Not much power, but just put it across. Yeah, it went in, but it was yeah. But to be honest, because it didn't have that much power that I wanted to put it in, I wasn't very sure that was actually going to go in. But eventually,
So you speak about the noise that the Ibrox generates,
yeah,
almost acting as a 12th man. From someone coming to play in Glasgow, perhaps for the first time, uh, that must literally be quite an experience for someone walking out onto that sort of cauldron of just white noise surrounding you from the minute you step onto the grass. It must be quite an experience.
yeah, it was. Like I said, we still talk about it sometimes, and but it was the whole thing since the moment we get there, the stadium itself, the fans being around the stadium very early, noisy, even after the game, like when the game finishes, how the fans clap their own players in the way they did. And I think we felt, might be wrong, but I think we felt even in somehow the respect to us in the way we qualify, but they, like when you put two big teams uh, playing at the best and the best one wins, as the sport does, and recognizing that. I think, like I said, the whole 2 3 hours that we were at the stadium, it was incredible. I like that is something I always liked. Even eventually the reason is coming to England and playing the Premier League is the respect that British fans you have, guys,
Yeah.
for players and from clubs and the history, and that's something you sense, and we sense from the moment we got to the hotel with the fans that were there for pictures or autographs or whatever it was. And the moment we left the stadium to the bus, the same. I mean, you sense that respect for the players that you don't get in many places.
Yeah,
Whether you win or you lose, because we know when you win, of course, everyone is like, wants everything from you. But when you lose, not everyone is there to cheer you and to cherish you and trying to lift your mood up as they would.
absolutely. That campaign, we were actually flying in that campaign. We had a really good sort of 6 games.
Yeah.
I felt that, as I say, the double header against PSV Eindhoven was quite something. The game at Ibrox was fantastic. They were kitted out. I'm sure Van Nistelrooy played with them back then.
Yeah, but when Van Nistelrooy was there, and who was um, Goku or
Koku,
something.
yeah, absolutely.
Goku, yeah.
Our last game was in Germany when we had to do something against Bayern Munich, and I think for Rangers supporters it'll be known as the night that Michael Moles was quite seriously injured by Oliver Kahn. But I actually think I felt we deserved to progress from that group based on probably the 2 PSV performances and 2 really good performances against Bayern Munich. I think Valencia were actually the team that we struggled against the most.
Yeah, but I mean, I would not. I mean, I didn't want to go Ibrox to play, and if it would have been the last game to actually qualify, not a good place to go. But neither is this in Germany.
Yeah.
And you see with these big teams like Munich, Barca, Madrid, normally they go like steady. They start not very good, but when they have to win, they have this thing. Like I said before with Madrid final, they have this thing that click on and off. And then when they have to win, they got this gene that just
the mentality.
Just go for it. Yeah, I think it's the mentality. Yeah, and you gain that obviously with the players, with the team, with the history, etc. And we play there, and we kind of, like I said, we were we felt great that we didn't have to go there to play for the qualifier.
So, do you keep? Have you ever been back to Ibrox since that night in 1999?
I think I've been watching. Did Barca play there?
Barca
I know they
played there.
played Celtic, but I think Barca did play, like, of course, after retired. And I think I went there to watch them one or twice. I think. I don't remember. I think I've been a couple of times there. Yeah, whenever Barca is played in UK or Scotland, I've always tried to
Try and check
go
them
and
out.
see. And I think I've been there twice in Ibrox.
So that brings us quite nicely on to what Gaizka Mendieta is doing now from either a coaching perspective or a media involvement perspective. Give us a clue about what you're up to just now.
Yeah, I'm lucky to do quite a few things. I mainly I do things for La Liga as an ambassador. So now we do from home. We used to travel a lot to any country with partners, broadcasters that are with La Liga. So to explain what La Liga does, all the different projects, what La Liga means, to try to bring La Liga closer to La Liga fans, and vice versa. And that's what takes most of the time. Then, for Barca, I do as also ambassador and UEFA for different events. Then Legend, which means playing games either for La Liga, Barca, or any Legends games that may happen anywhere in the world. I do some TV, some punditry. I've done for different broadcasters. What else? I do a bit of DJ when I can. I love music, and I started to do DJ when I finished playing.
Good.
And then go different sort of investments. Actually, I'm a shareholder of a group of restaurants. We have one in Glasgow, Iberica. You know, you've heard of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, we have 9 in UK and one in Glasgow. And then I have my coaching badges. I have B and A. I want to get my pro. I just finished a master with UEFA and sporting administrator, sporting director sort of thing. So I'm preparing myself, educating myself, and be ready for whatever may come at any time.
Do you see yourself going into coaching at all? Is that the plan?
It's something I would like to give it a go. I would like to try it, whether if it's a coach, whether if it's in the sporting director, sporting decision making part of the club. But yeah, it's something that definitely I would like to try and experience.
Good. Just before I let you go, and this is probably an easy question, in each of the 3 countries that you've played in, who would you say is the best player you've played with?
The best player I play with?
Yeah.
I play with many. That's why I'm saying it's hard to pick one. I've been lucky to play with many players. Well, one that it wasn't there for long, but it was something else, something special. It was Romario. He was at Valencia for not very long, but it was like
phenomenal.
Yeah, phenomenal. Like, again, I don't think our style, that's what didn't stay long, because our style didn't really suit him. It came with Valdano, but then Valdano left straight after, and Luis Aragonés joined the club. Of course, we were a bit more physical, and he didn't enjoy that. But you watch him training, we were like, what's this guy? It was like some out of the PlayStation sort of thing. So probably him.
Good. Well, listen, Gaizka Mendieta, I really appreciate your time tonight. I've enjoyed having 40 minutes or so of your time. I really appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Pleasure. Really enjoyed talking to you, and all the best for the future, guys.
It's so hard to get by. Stealing clean on the side. Adolescence keeps up and time flies. I felt amused to depression rise.